All right. Before we get started, I'd like to send praises out to a God of our forefathers, God of Abraham, God of Isaac, God of Jacob, the God of Israel. My name is Priest RamBen Israel. I'm with Holy Nation of Israel. I'm gonna come back with you with another lesson. Another lesson entitled "Within Thy Gates: A Controversy Amongst Israel." Before we get started, go ahead and grab your Bible, follow along if it's in your spirit, take notes. Feel free to take notes. So that means get something to write on. So that means get a notepad, book, whatever. Get something to write with, writing utensil. And I ain't gonna hold it up. I'm gonna go straight into it. Again, the title of the class is "Within Thy Gates: A Controversy Amongst Israel." Before we get started, I'm gonna go over the definition of controversy. Controversy, disagreement, typically when prolonged, public, and heated. Similar words, arguments, and disputes. Let's go ahead and open up at Deuteronomy 26 and 16, priest.
The book of Deuteronomy 26, verse 16. This day the Lord thy God hath commanded thee to do these statutes and judgments. Thou shalt therefore keep and do them with all thine heart and with all thy soul. Thou hast avouched the Lord this day to be thy God.
And avouch means affirm or assert. That's what avouch means. Keep reading, priest.
And to walk in his ways. And to keep his statutes and his commandments and his judgments and to hearken unto his voice.
All right. So let's get a precept on judgments. How we supposed to look at God's judgments. How we supposed to look at God's judgments. Let's go to Psalms 119, 120 real quick, priest. We're coming right back.
The book of Psalms, chapter 119, verse 120. My flesh trembleth for fear of thee.
According to the Bible, your flesh is supposed to tremble when you fear God. Keep reading.
And I am afraid of thy judgments.
And as Israelite man and woman, we are supposed to be afraid of God's judgments. God judgments. I want you to hold on to that. Let's go back to Deuteronomy 26. And where was that? 18 or 17?
Yeah, 18 now.
Bring that out.
Deuteronomy 26, verse 18.
And
the Lord have avouched thee this day to be his peculiar people.
Now, remember, avouch means affirm or assert. Read 18 again, priest.
And the Lord hath avouched thee this day.
So the Lord have affirmed and the Lord has assert this day. Keep reading.
To be his peculiar people.
To be his peculiar people. Peculiar people. Keep reading, priest.
As he hath promised thee that thou shouldest keep all his commandments. And to make thee high above all nations which he hath made.
And let's go into high above all nations. How are we supposed to be high above all nations? Real quick. Deuteronomy 28 and verse 1. Excuse me. Deuteronomy 28 and verse 1.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 1.
Bring this out.
And it shall come to pass.
Now this is future prophecy. If only the Israelite man or woman were to listen, it should come to pass that what?
If thou shalt hearken diligently.
We have to hear. We have to hear, and we have to hear diligently. Diligently. Like we got to seek it out. Read.
Unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
And when we do it, it's supposed to be only to the voice of the Lord thy God. Read.
To observe.
And when we do it, we're supposed to observe. That means we're supposed to learn. Learn and what?
To observe and to do.
To learn and to do what?
All his commandments.
All his commandments and what else?
Which I command thee this day.
That's the point. Because God, through the prophets, he commanded us this day when we received it to keep his commandments. Keep reading, priest.
That the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
That's the point. That's the point. The blessings, all this will come if only Israel will hearken. Hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. So let's go back to Deuteronomy 26 and pick where you left off at, priest.
Deuteronomy chapter 26 and verse 18. And the Lord hath avouched
affirm or assert. Read.
This day to be his peculiar people.
And that was that day. Read.
As he had promised thee. And that thou shouldest keep all his commandments. And to make thee high above all nations.
That's the point. God, literal purpose for the Israelite nation was to make us that great and mighty nation. Keep reading, priest.
and to make thee high above all nations, which he hath made, in praise, and in name, and in honor, and that thou mayest be an holy people unto the Lord thy God.
So we may be a holy people unto the Lord thy God.
As he hath spoken.
Hey, let's get some precepts real quick. Leviticus 26, Leviticus 20 and verse 26, and Deuteronomy 7 and 6. Once you get done, priest.
Leviticus 20 and verse 26.
We about to find out what makes us holy, or what's make us separate, what sever us, what split us apart, what cut us, what split our bond against all the nations that you see on this face of the earth. We about to find out. Bring this up.
Leviticus 20 verse 26. And ye shall be holy unto me.
According to the Bible said that we should be holy. Holy. Let's find out what holy is. Read, priest.
For I, the Lord, am holy.
So we know that the Lord himself is holy. And let's find out what holy is. Read.
And have severed you.
That's the point. That's what holy is. It severed us. It cut us from what?
And have severed you from other people.
That's the point. God has separated us from other people. We are not like any other body on this face of the earth. We are separate. We are special. We are holy. Keep reading, priest.
That ye should be mine.
And that's the point. We are the Lord's. We are the Lord's. All right, let's continue on. Deuteronomy 7 and 6, priest. Oh, you go ahead and drop Deuteronomy 26. We ain't going back. We're going to continue forward.
Deuteronomy 7 verse 6.
Uh-huh.
For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God.
According to the Bible, it said that we are a holy people unto the Lord thy God. Read, priest.
The Lord thy God hath chosen thee.
And we need to know this, that God chose us. We didn't choose him. And he chose us to be what?
To be a special people.
And when he chose our people, he chose us to be that special people. Keep reading, priest.
Unto himself.
And that's what it's for, unto himself, unto the Lord, the God Almighty of our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Read, priest.
Above all people.
And that's the point. We are above all people. There's no equality amongst the Israelites when it comes to our God and the other nations. They don't have a God. We the only one that has a true living God. So guess what? We are above all nations because of our God. Keep reading though, priest.
Above all people
Uh-huh.
that are upon the face of the earth.
Upon the face of the earth. Hey, let's go to Deuteronomy 17 and let's start at 8.
Deuteronomy chapter 17 verse 8.
Bring this up.
If there arise, let me read it again. If there arise a matter too hard for thee in judgment.
According to the Bible, during the time of when it comes to judgment, if there's a matter that's too hard, we're supposed to bring it to the elders. And the elders couldn't explain it, they're supposed to bring it to Moses. But we're about to go into it. Read, priest.
Between blood and blood.
Between blood and blood.
Between plea and plea.
Against plead and plead.
Between stroke and stroke.
Stroke and stroke.
Being matters of controversy within thy gates.
Well, the matters of controversy within our gates. Our gates. Now, hold on. Let's get some precepts about our gates. About our gates. Let's go to Deuteronomy 16 and start at 18.
Deuteronomy 16 verse 18.
Bring this up.
Judges and officers shalt thou make in all thy gates.
According to the Bible, it said that we're supposed to make judges and officers in all our gates. That's supposed to be at the gates. Judges and officers doing what? Doing just judgments. We're going to explain later. Keep reading, priest.
Which the Lord thy God giveth thee throughout thy tribes. And they shall judge the people
and they
with
judge
just
who?
And they shall judge the people with just judgment.
With just judgment. With just judgment. You want to bring anything out, priest? All right, keep reading, priest.
Verse 19.
Oh, no, that was it. Oh, no, 19 is the point.
Verse 19. Thou shalt not rest judgment.
According to the Bible, judges should not rest with judgment. Read.
Thou shalt not respect persons.
And according to the judging officers, we should not have respect of person amongst our people, the Israelites. Read.
Neither take a gift.
And we should not supposed to take a gift, because a gift destroyeth the heart. Read.
For a gift doth blind the eyes of the wise, and pervert the words of the righteous.
So we already given information on what we should do as judges and officers. Judges and officers. So let's go back to Deuteronomy 17 and verse 8.
Deuteronomy 17 verse 8.
Bring this up.
If there arise a matter too hard for thee in judgment.
A matter that arise too hard for thee in judgment. Read, priest.
Between blood and blood.
Between blood and blood.
Between plea and plea.
So we have an issue. We have a controversy. We have an argument. We have a disagreement. We have a dispute going on right now. Keep reading, priest.
And between stroke and stroke,
Being
matters of controversy within thy gates.
That's the point. A matter of controversy within thy gates that's supposed to be dealt amongst the officers and the judges. Keep reading, priest.
Then thou shalt arise and get thee up into the place which the Lord thy God shall choose. And thou shalt come unto the priests, the Levites, and unto the judges that shall be in those days, and inquire, and they shall show thee.
And we should inquire. Inquire means they should do an investigation. Keep reading.
And they shall show thee the sentence of judgment.
And once they find out what is the whole controversy, they're going to give you a sentence of judgment. Keep reading, priest.
And thou shalt do according to the sentence.
And as Israelite men and women, we supposed to do according to the judgments that was given from us, from our elders, officers, and judges. Keep reading, though, priest.
Which they of that place, which the Lord shall choose, shall show thee. And thou shalt observe to do according to all that they inform thee. According to the sentence of the law.
According to the sentence of the law. Now, we all know the judgment of the laws when it comes to adultery, when it comes to fornication, when it comes to murderers, when it comes to stealing. So this is what the officer will go in and inquire to see where we fall short at in the laws, and they would judge us based off of God's words. And that's what we are doing today in the last days. We are literally holding our people accountable to God's words. So you could be accountable for your actions. So you can't say that you did not know so. Because remember, the title of the class is Within Thy Gates, a Controversy Amongst Israel. And basically the controversy amongst Israel deals with sin. It deals with sin. But keep reading, priest.
Verse 11. According to the sentence of the law which they shall teach thee, and according to the judgment which they shall tell thee, thou shalt do. Thou shalt not decline from the sentence.
And we should not decline. That means we should try to keep the commandment. We should not stop doing what was judged from the sentence. Read, priest.
Thou shalt not decline from the sentence which they shall show thee.
And they're going to show us the laws. That's why we should not decline, because they're showing us God's words. That's why we shouldn't decline. Keep reading, priest.
To the right hand, nor to the left.
So you shouldn't waver. You shouldn't waver. You should hold firm on what they showed you, because that's God's words. Keep reading, though, priest.
Verse 12. And the man that will do presumptuously.
Supposedly, read. And
will not hearken unto the priest that standeth to minister there before the Lord thy God.
And that's what our people are going to realize. That back in those days, in the days of antiquity, when our people was released from Exodus, Egypt, during the time of Exodus, we had officers, judges over us. And we weren't supposed to decline from the sentence, because they was literally teaching us the laws of God. But guess what our people did? Supposedly, and will now hearken unto the priest. Keep reading where you left off at.
Or unto the judge. Even that man shall die.
Why?
And thou shalt put away the evil from Israel.
And that's during the time of the laws of Moses. If you didn't want to listen to the sinners, they would put you to death. But keep reading, though, priest.
And all the people shall hear and fear.
All the people shall hear and fear.
And do no more presumptuously.
And do no more presumptuously, because that was evil that they was doing. That was evil that they was doing. Let's continue on. Deuteronomy 19. Let's start at 16, priest.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 19 and verse 16.
And then when it always comes, if we have a controversy, we always have to make sure we have more than just one witnesses, according to the law. Bring this out.
Oh, that's verse 1. That's verse 15.
That's what I call, right?
You call 16.
Oh, read 15, then go down 16.
All right. Deuteronomy, chapter 19, verse 15. One witness shall not rise up against a man for any iniquity. Or for any sin. In any sin that he sinneth. At the mouth of 2 witnesses, or at the mouth of 3 witnesses.
So all we need back in those days was 2 or 3. That's it. To establish the matter. Shall be the matter established. Finish where you left
Shall
off.
the matter be established.
Verse 16.
If a false witness rise up.
Out of the witnesses, if a false witness arise, and this coming from the law, let's get the law real quick. Exodus 20 and 16, priest. Let's get it. How we should not be.
The book of Exodus, chapter 20 and verse 16.
Bring it out.
Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.
According to the commandments, we ain't supposed to bear false witness against our neighbors. That's why when you read on precept upon precept, that's why you would have certain laws when you inquire how you would judge a matter. And this time we would have a matter being judged by 2 or 3 witnesses. Not one, though. Because if a false matter arises with that one, you know what the sentence is for that. But keep reading, priest.
Deuteronomy 19, verse 16.
Uh-huh.
If a man between whom the controversy is shall stand before the Lord, before the priest and the judges, which shall be in those days.
So between the priests and the judges, and guess where the priests and the judges was at? It was at the gates. They was at those gates. They was at those gates. Keep reading, though, priest.
And the judges shall make diligent inquisition.
And the judges should make a diligent. And the diligent definition of diligent is in a way that shows care or conscientiousness in one's work or duty. And guess what? Our judges and our officers back in those time when Moses walked, they took their work and their duties seriously. And they will give you the sentence once they inquire out of the laws or out of the word of God. But keep reading, priest.
And behold, if the witness be a false witness,
And if a witness be a false witness, read.
and have testified against his brother,
And that's what it is.
so I can read again, and have testified falsely against his brother,
And testified falsely against his brother, and his brother is an Israelite. Read.
neighbor.
His neighbor. Thank you, priest.
then shall ye do unto him as he had thought to have done unto his brother.
Uh-huh.
So shalt thou put the evil away from among you.
And again, that's what the whole purpose or the whole intention is, to put away the evil out of Israel. Because our people don't believe that back in those days, our people was doing evil. According to the Bible, this is how we separated those people. We would put the evil out among us. Put the evil away from among you. Keep reading verse 20.
And those which remain shall hear and fear.
And those that left behind, guess what they're going to do? They're going to reverence God and fear his judgments because they see the example that's laid in for them. They observe what's laid in before them. But keep reading, priest.
And shall henceforth commit no more any such evil among you.
Why?
And thine eye shall not pity, but life shall go for life,
A life should go for a life. This is sentence now. This is the sentence. A life for a life.
eye for eye,
An eye for an eye.
tooth for tooth,
Uh-huh.
hand for hand, foot for foot.
So basically, our God's a fair God, believe it or not. Let's continue on. Deuteronomy 21, and let's start at 9, priest.
The book,
No, Deuteronomy 21, let's start at 1, Salakia.
Deuteronomy chapter 21 and verse 1.
Uh-huh.
If one be found slain in the land,
Uh-huh.
which the Lord thy God giveth thee to possess it.
Now, the reason why I'm going over this is because this is going to sentences and this is going to judgments, and it's just overall just history on how we would deal with matters concerning Israelites. But keep reading, though, priest.
Lying in the field,
Uh-huh.
and it be not known who have slain him.
And it be not known that slain them. So this is basically a
Unsolved murder.
unsolved murder. Thank you, priest.
Then thy elders and thy judges shall come forth,
And what shall come before? The elders and the judges should come forth, and what?
and they shall measure unto the cities which are round about him that is slain.
So they would literally look at the distance of all the cities around about, and they're going to measure, like, where he came from. Keep reading.
And it shall be that the city which is next unto the slain man,
Uh-huh.
even the elders of that city shall
Yeah.
take an heifer,
Indeed, the elders of that city should take a heifer, read,
which have not been wrought with,
which had not been worked with. That means the heifer is basically a virgin to labor, read,
and which have not drawn in the yoke.
and which had not been forced to go out there and work. Keep reading.
And the elders of that city shall bring down the heifer unto a rough valley,
Uh-huh.
which is neither
And that
ear,
heifer is a cow, read.
which is neither ear nor sown,
Uh-huh.
and shall strike off the heifer's neck there in the valley.
Right?
And the priest of the sons of Levi shall come near.
Should come near. The priests of the sons of Levi should come near. So these are now from the elders to the judges, and we are dealing with the priests. The Levites, read.
For them the Lord thy God hath chosen to minister unto him.
Because back then, God chose the Levites to minister unto him. Read.
And to bless in the name of the Lord.
And also to bless in the name of the Lord. So this is very important that our people would have kept this if they found an unsolved murder around about their town or their city. That the elders had to go to the priest and had to presume their innocence. Well, that's what we're going to explain. Keep reading, priest.
And by their word
Uh-huh.
shall every controversy and every stroke be tried.
By every word shall every controversy and every stroke be tried. That's the point. And remember the title class, within thy gates, a controversy amongst Israel. In Israel, we have a lot of controversy. Believe it or not, dealing with our Lord and dealing with ourselves, dealing with our individual brothers and sisters. We all have a disagreement. We all have arguments and we all have disputes. But our disagreements and our arguments or our disputes need to be according to the word of God. Not according to your feelings, not according to the white man's feelings, so-called white man's feelings, or anyone else. But continue on, priest. I just want 9, priest. You down
Verse
there?
6.
Oh,
and all the elders of that city that are next unto the slain men shall wash their hands over the heifer that is beheaded in the valley.
Because they clean. They clean themselves off. Read.
And they shall answer and say.
And answer and say what?
Our hands have not shed this blood.
They know that their hands have not shed that blood. So that controversy, that matter is over. Because they know their hands have not shed that blood. Read.
Neither have our eyes seen it. Be merciful, O Lord, unto thy people Israel.
Remember, this is what the Levites would ask the Lord for, because only the Levites back during that time could bless the nation of Israel. Read, priest.
Whom thou hast redeemed. And lay not innocent blood unto thy people Israel's charge.
And that's the point. We should not supposed to put innocent blood on us. If anything we should put out should be evil and wicked people. It shouldn't be innocent blood being spilled. Read, priest.
And the blood shall be forgiven them.
And the blood shall be forgiven of them.
So shalt thou put away the guilt of innocent blood from among you, when thou shalt do that which is right in the sight of the Lord.
And as Israelite men and women, we're supposed to do right in the sight of the Lord. Deuteronomy 25. Let's start at 1, priest.
Deuteronomy 25, verse 1.
But we're going to read down to 3, but 5 is the point.
Deuteronomy 25,
we're going to read
verse
down
1.
3, but 1 is the point.
All right. If there be a controversy between men.
Again, here it goes. If there be an argument, a dispute, or a disagreement between men. Read, priest.
And they come unto judgment.
And they come unto judgment. Remember, the judge is supposed to do an inquiry when it comes to the sentences that are supposed to be laid forth, and we're supposed to do them. Keep reading, priest.
That the judges may judge them. Then they shall justify the righteous.
They're going to do what? The judges should justify the righteous.
And condemn the wicked.
And condemn the wicked. It's not should, it's shall. Shall justify. So that means that was a commandment. That means we shall justly judge we shall justify the righteous. That's the point of the commandments, is to justify the righteous. Those that do the law, they are the righteous. We are here to justify the righteous and condemn the wicked. Verse 2, priest.
And it shall be, if the wicked man be worthy to be beaten.
And this is a sentence right here. If it comes down to the worthy man need to be beaten, need to be chastised. This is how we're supposed to chastise them. Read, priest.
That the judge shall cause him to lie down and to be beaten before his face according to his fault by a certain number.
Certain number. Verse 3, priest.
Verse 3.
Just for the edification purposes. Read it, priest.
40 stripes.
40 what?
40 stripes.
40 what?
40 stripes he may give him. 40
stripes may a judge give a wicked person.
Oh yeah, that's the maximum sentence right there.
Wicked person. 40 stripes. 40 stripes. Well, you know that the Esau, they went above and beyond that. But according to the Bible, the Israelite man is only supposed to receive 40 stripes for the controversy matter if he found at fault. Because remember, supposed to justify the righteous and condemn the wicked. Condemn the wicked. Let's go to 2 Samuel.
We ain't finished 3.
Oh, bring that up. Finish that up for me.
40 stripes he may give him and not exceed. Lest if he should exceed and beat him above these with many stripes, then thy brother should seem vile unto thee.
Yeah, he should be hated amongst him because, hey, man, you did what won't sentence. You went above and beyond expectations.
Anything above 40 is cruel and unusual punishment.
Thank you, priest. Hey, let's go to 2 Samuel. Let's start at 1. 2 Samuel. Oh, sorry. 2 Samuel chapter 15 and verse 1.
2 Samuel chapter 15 verse 1.
Bring this out.
And it came to pass after this that Absalom prepared him chariots and horses and 50 men to run before him.
So right now we about to go over history. And this is good history. This is about Absalom. And you can read about Absalom. You can read about him in 2 Samuel chapter 15, starting at verse 1. Keep reading, priest.
And Absalom rose up early and stood beside the way of the gate. And it was so, that when any man that had a controversy.
Hey, he said that Absalom still where? By the way of what? The gates, right?
Yep.
Let's go with some precepts of the gates real quick. We already went over Deuteronomy 16 and 18. We ain't got to go back to that. But let's get Proverbs 1 to 7, and then we're going to jump down to 20, priest. Bring this out for me.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 1 and verse 7.
Bring it out.
The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge.
I want our people to realize when you fear the Lord, that's when knowledge begins at. Believe it or not, that's what the word says. Read, priest.
But fools despise wisdom and instruction.
And only people that despise instruction and wisdom are fools. So don't be that fool. Don't be that fool. Jump down to verse 20, priest.
Verse 20. Wisdom crieth without.
So when you come to find out, wisdom crieth without. Wisdom cries, read.
She uttereth her voice in the streets.
And where she going to be found? She going to be found in the streets. And we know who's going to be in the streets teaching the word of God? God, true prophets.
Right.
God, true prophets in truth and sincerity. But keep reading, priest.
She crieth in the chief place of concourse.
She crieth in the chief place of concourse. So that's why we always out there in the middle of all the busy intersections. Because we know that the wisdom crieth out amongst the chief place of concourse. Keep reading, priest.
In the openings of the gates.
And where you could find wisdom at, back in the town, should be in the opening of the gates when we had our officers and judges. When they was holding themselves to when they were basically justifying the righteous and condemning the wicked. Excuse me, priest. Keep reading, priest.
In the city she uttereth her words, saying.
Saying what?
Verse 22.
Yep. I want.
How
23.
long? Huh?
I want all the way down to 23.
All right. How long, ye simple ones?
God is literally calling us simple. He's calling us simple. How long we simple ones? What?
Will ye love simplicity?
How long will we stay in the condition that we in? We love simplicity. And look around, we know our people love simplicity. That's why they continue on calling themselves African Americans, Puerto Ricans, and so on and so on, all these westernized terms, because that's the simplicity that comes from it. The simplicity that comes from it is so they can commit and stay in their sins and not change. But keep reading, priest.
And the scoffers delight in their scoffing,
And
in their scorning.
And we know we need to always see this when we go out there and teach that only people that delight in their scoffer are the scorners. Read.
And fools hate knowledge.
And again, fools just don't only hate instruction and wisdom, they also hate the knowledge that comes from the elders or the judges that used to teach at the gates. Because all they used to teach us was the laws of God, which is the knowledge according to Malachi 2 and 7. But keep reading, priest.
Turn you at my reproof.
So according to the Bible, we're supposed to turn our brothers and sisters to the correction of the word. That's what the correction of God is, the reproof. Keep reading, priest.
Behold, I will pour.
I want you to look. Read.
Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you.
Uh-huh.
I will make known my words unto you.
And so we can do an inquiry and find out the sentence that we can hold ourselves to. Because remember, we shall justify the righteous and condemn the wicked as judges and officers in Israel. That's our job. That's what we tasked with. Let's go back to 2 Samuel 15, and let's start at verse 1 again, priest. No, you was at 2, so I can use that 2.
2 Samuel 15, verse 2.
Uh-huh.
And Absalom rose up early.
So Absalom rose up early, read.
And stood beside the way of the gate.
Where wisdom could be found, read.
And it was so that when any man that had a controversy came to the king for judgment.
They came to the king Absalom for judgment, read.
Well, David, they were coming.
Oh, David. Yeah. So like.
Then Absalom called unto him and said.
Said what?
Of what city art thou?
Uh-huh.
And he said, thy servant is of one of the tribes of Israel.
Uh-huh.
And Absalom said unto him, see, thy matters are good and right.
So go and inquire, see if the matters are good or right, read.
But there is no man disputed of the king to hear thee.
But there's no man that has a controversy of the king to hear you. But why? Read.
Absalom said, moreover.
Moreover what?
Oh, that I were made judge in the land.
According to Absalom, he said, I was made judge in the land. Read.
That every man which hath any suit or cause might come unto me, and I would do him justice.
I would do him justice. He supposed to do him justice according to law, but did he? Let's find out. Read.
And it was so that when any man came nigh to him to do him obeisance, he put forth his hand and took him and kissed him.
Right. Keep reading.
And on this manner did Absalom to all Israel that came to the king for judgment. So Absalom stole the hearts of the men of Israel.
That's the point. He stole the hearts of the men of Israel. So reason why I brought this out, because we always went to our leaders when we had matters dealing with our brothers, dealing with controversy amongst Israel. Amongst Israel. Now, let's go to Isaiah. Let's flip the script. Let's go to Isaiah 34 and 8 now.
Hey, I'll give you another example of that since you was using David.
Let's go.
Solomon.
Bring it out.
Solomon was a judge. We ain't got to get it.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to put that out. Remember that story about the
two. Yeah, the two. Yeah. Damn, I should have. Dang.
Where'd you go?
Let's go to, this is, we changed up, but let's go to Isaiah 34 and 8.
Isaiah 34 verse 8.
Hey, that was a good one. I don't know why I didn't think of that one though, priest. That was a good judgment. All right, bring this
Isaiah
up.
34 verse 8. For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance.
This is the day of the Lord's vengeance, and this is only talking about the vengeance that's going to happen to the other nations. Edom, to be specific. But keep reading, priest.
And the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion.
In the years and the controversy of Zion. That's the point. Because we are Zion. Israelite man and woman. We make up the nation. We make up Zion. We are Zion. Alright. So I ain't need to bring that out. So let's continue on. Let's go to Jeremiah 25 now. Jeremiah 25. Let's start at 29, priest. And we're going to read down to 31.
Jeremiah chapter 25 and verse 29.
Bring this out.
For lo, I begin to bring evil on the city which is called by my name.
So God has began, because of controversy, began to bring evil upon a city that's called by his name. Read, priest.
And should ye be utterly unpunished?
And according to the Bible, should we be utterly unpunished? And the answer to that is we shall be punished. Read.
Ye shall not be unpunished.
That's the point. We ain't going to be unpunished. We ain't not going to escape. Keep reading, priest.
For I will call for a sword upon all the inhabitants of the earth, saith the Lord of hosts.
And the Lord should call a sword upon all the inhabitants upon the earth. So let's get some precepts real quick for the city. Let's go to Psalms.
Coming back here?
Yeah, we're coming right back. Let's go to Psalms 87. Let's start at 1, priest. And we're going to read down to 3.
The book of Psalms, chapter 87 and verse 1.
Uh-huh.
His foundation is in the holy mountains.
According to the Bible, the Lord's foundation is in the holy mountain. We got to find out what the holy mountain is. Read, priest.
The Lord loveth the gates of Zion more than all the dwellings of Jacob.
So among the gates, he loved the gates of Zion. Among all what?
More than all the dwellings of Jacob.
And more than all the dwellings of Jacob. It was Zion, his chosen place. Read, priest.
Glorious things are spoken of thee, O city of God. Selah.
Only glorious things are spoken of the city of God. All praises. That was 3?
Yep.
All praises. Let's go to Psalms, same book. Psalms 46 and 7, priest. 46, let's start at verse 4.
Psalms chapter 46 and verse 4.
Bring this out.
There is a river, the streams whereof shall make glad the city of God.
And according to the Bible, there's rivers that be glad because of the city of God. Read.
And the holy place of the tabernacles of the Most High.
And this is the holy place of the tabernacle of the Most High God. Read, priest.
God is in the midst of her.
God is in the midst of Zion. God is in the midst of Israel. God is in the midst of her. Read, priest.
She shall not be moved.
And Zion is not going to be moved.
God shall help her.
And God always going to help Zion. Read.
And that right early.
Verse 6.
Verse 6. The heathen rage.
Because of that, the heathens, the other nations, they hate that thing there. They hate that God's for his people, Zion, who are the Israelites, the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. Read, priest.
The kingdoms were moved.
And because of that, kingdoms are moved because of that. Read.
He uttered his voice.
And when he uttered his voice, read.
The earth melted.
And the earth became on fire. On fire because of Zion. You so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. Remember, before Zion was a place, it was a nation. All right, let's go to, we're coming right back to Jeremiah, but I'm still going to stay upon the city, and let's go into Zion. Let's go get 1 King 8 and 1. 1 King 8, and let's start at verse 1, priest.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 8, verse 1. Then Solomon assembled the elders of Israel.
Hey, according to the Bible, we always have wise man elders around us. Solomon, he assembled the elders. And guess what? These elders were wise elders. And why I say that? Side note. Let's get Job 32 and 4, priest. And once you read 4, jump down to verse 7 and 9.
The book
7
of Job.
through 9, excuse me.
The book of Job, chapter 32 and verse 4.
Uh-huh.
Now, Elihu had waited till Job had spoken, because they were elder than he.
Hey, my brother had reverence. He had respect because he knew they was others before him. He waited till they finished their speech because he knew don't interrupt a man in the midst of his speech. Keep reading, priest. Verse 7.
Verse 7. I said, they should speak, and multitude of years should teach wisdom.
But when it came to Elihu, he went in on him. He went in on the elders. He's saying that they should speak, and what multitude of years should what?
Should teach wisdom.
Multitude of years should show some wisdom and teach wisdom. Read, priest.
But there is a spirit in man.
But there's a spirit in man. There's a spirit in man that what?
And the inspiration of the Almighty giveth them understanding.
That's the point. The inspiration that comes from a certain man, the inspiration came from God Almighty himself. But keep reading.
Great men are not always wise.
Now, great men are not always wise, but what?
Neither do the aged understand judgment.
Neither do the aged comprehend the sentence, the judgments that's found in the Bible. It's found in the Bible. People have a hard time understanding the sentences found in the Bible. I give you one right now. There's a law in place that says man can marry man, woman can marry woman. But according to the laws, according to the sentence, that's an abomination. Those people should be put to death. But those sentences is not hold because why? Today people are not condemning the wicked, but they are literally condemning the righteous. They're literally condemning the righteous. They justifying the wickedness and condemning those that want to be righteous. That's the flip side on this part now in this wicked society. All right. We finished up on 9, priest.
Yep.
All right, let's go back to
1 Kings
8. All right, bring this up.
1 Kings chapter 8, verse 1.
Uh-huh.
Then Solomon assembled the elders of Israel,
Uh-huh.
and all the heads of the tribes,
Uh-huh.
the chief of the fathers of the children of Israel,
Right.
unto King Solomon in Jerusalem, that they might bring up the ark of the covenant of the Lord out of the city of David, which is Zion.
And that's the city of David, which is Zion, the city that God fight for. Fight for. Hey, Psalms 2 and 6, priest.
Psalm chapter 2 and verse 6.
Bring this up.
Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion.
That's the point. God has set the king, and that king is Christ. He set
That's
him
right.
upon the holy hill, and he set him upon Zion, the city of David. Keep reading, priest. And that was it, the 6, right?
Yep.
Revelation 14 and 1. Revelation 14 and 1.
Revelation chapter 14 and verse 1.
Bring this out.
And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion.
Hey, again, that lamb again is Christ. He looked, the angel looked, and he saw. Read.
And with him 144,000, having his father's name written in their foreheads.
All right, so let's go back to Jeremiah 20.
Jeremiah chapter 25
And start at 29 again.
and verse 29.
Bring it up.
For lo, I begin to bring evil on the city which is called by my name.
And that's Zion, the holy mountain. Well, Israel, Jerusalem, however you want to put it. Read, priest.
And should ye be utterly unpunished?
And should we escape punishment? Let's find out.
Ye shall not be unpunished.
God said we should not be unpunished. We ain't gonna escape it. Keep reading, priest.
For I will call for a sword upon all the inhabitants of the earth, saith the Lord of hosts. Therefore prophesy thou against them all these words.
All these words. Let's find out all these words is going into. Read down, priest.
And say unto them, the Lord will roar from on high, and utter his voice from his holy habitation. He will mightily roar upon his habitation. He shall give a shout as they that tread the grapes.
Right.
Against all the inhabitants of the earth.
So all the inhabitants of the earth is going to get it. Read.
A noise shall come even to the ends of the earth.
So that everyone's going to hear God. Put it like this. Everyone's going to feel God wrath in that day. But keep reading, priest. This is the point.
A noise shall come from the end of the earth. Even, Salakia. I'm going to read it again. A noise shall come even to the ends of the earth. For the Lord hath a controversy.
Lord has a dispute. Keep reading.
The Lord hath a controversy with the nations. He will plead with all flesh.
He's going to plead with all flesh. How's he going to plead with all flesh? Read.
He will give them that are wicked to the sword,
He will
saith
give
the Lord.
them the wicked to the sword, to the sword. And you know the sword is the other nation. That's who he used to chastise us. And let's go to Ezekiel 44 and 23, priest. Unless you want to bring something up.
No, I got it.
All right.
What's it called?
Ezekiel 44 and verse 23, priest.
All right. Ezekiel 44, verse 23.
Bring this out.
And they shall teach my people the difference between the holy and the profane.
According to the Bible, we're supposed to teach our people the difference between what? The holy and the profane.
The holy and the profane.
Uh-huh.
And cause them to discern between the unclean and the clean.
Right, verse 24.
Verse 24.
Mm-hmm.
And in controversy.
And in controversy, there's a dispute, there's an argument or a disagreement. Read.
They shall stand in judgment.
They should stand in judgment and inquire from the judge where they fall short at when they go into the sentence of the Bible. Because remember, you can find the sentence of all the laws and where? In the Bible, which is the law.
Yep.
The key reading, priest, when you get a chance. Verse 24 again.
Verse 24. And in controversy they shall stand in judgment.
Uh-huh.
And they shall judge it according to my judgments.
Right.
And they shall keep my laws and my statutes and all mine assemblies, and they shall hallow my Sabbaths.
They shall hallow my Sabbath. Hallow my Sabbath. All praise. Deuteronomy 6 and 7, priest.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6 and verse 7.
Bring this out.
And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children.
Now, when we diligently goes into again in a way that shows care. So when our folks supposed to teach us the laws, they supposed to do it with care and conscientiousness in one's work, because it goes into their duties. Read, priest.
And shall talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up.
All right, when thou rises up. So let's get some. I wanna break down diligently one more time, because I don't think our people caught on to it. Diligently is in a way that shows care and conscientiousness in one's work and duties. So let's get our works that we're supposed to do diligently. Let's get Exodus 18:19. And then we will Ecclesiastes 12 and 13, priest, and then we're going to continue on. You're going to continue on.
Exodus 18, verse 19.
Uh-huh.
Hearken now unto my voice. I will give thee counsel, and God shall be with thee. Be thou for the people to God word.
So we're supposed to teach our people how to go towards God. Read.
That thou mayest bring the causes unto God.
And we might bring the causes unto God. And no causes, basically no controversies. Read, priest.
And thou shalt teach them ordinances and laws.
And according to the laws and the ordinance, that's how we're supposed to teach our people. Read, priest.
And shalt show them the way wherein they must walk, and the work that they must do.
That's the point. This is what the work we must do, what goes into God's commandments. Now let's get duty. That's it on 19?
Yep.
Let's get
That's in the 20.
Oh, all praises. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 12 and 13, priest. Ecclesiastes 12 and 13.
Ecclesiastes 12, verse 13.
Bring this out, because this is duty. This is the point of duty. Read.
Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter.
So let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Read.
Fear God.
Fear God.
And keep his commandments.
Uh-huh.
For this is the whole duty of man.
This is the whole duty of man. All right, let's continue on the lesson. Numbers 11 and 16.
The book of Numbers, chapter 11. You said verse 16?
Yep.
Numbers, chapter 11 and verse 16.
Uh-huh.
And the Lord said unto Moses, Gather unto me 70 men of the elders of Israel.
Now remember, we read Job earlier, and Job tell us how we be careful on how we consider our elders, because age and time don't mean that men are wise at all. But continue on Numbers 16. Continue where you left off.
Whom thou knowest to be the elders of the people, and officers over them, and bring them unto the tabernacle of the congregation, that they may stand there with thee.
That they may stand there with thee. Stand there with thee. Let's continue on some more precepts. Deuteronomy 22 and 18, priest. Get these precepts out of the way.
Deuteronomy chapter 22 and verse 18. And the elders of that city shall take that man and chastise him.
That's the point. The elders of the city, they always supposed to do the work when it comes to the sentence of the Lord. How they supposed to get it? Through the judges. But keep reading, priest.
Verse 19.
Oh, no, that was it. Let's go to Deuteronomy 27:1. Let's keep it moving.
Deuteronomy 27, verse 1.
We read this one earlier, but read it again.
And Moses with the elders of Israel commanded the people, saying, keep all the commandments which I command you this day.
That's the point. The elders and Moses always told us to keep the commandments. Keep the commandments. Keep the commandments. Deuteronomy 31:28, priest. The Bible is redundant.
Deuteronomy 31, verse 28.
Gather
unto me all the elders of your tribes.
Again, God always dealt with the elders of the nation of Israel. He always dealt with the man that's supposed to walk in the ways of the Lord. That's supposed to do just judgment for the righteous, justify the righteous, and condemn the wicked. And during that time when Moses was walking, you have brothers that did that thing. But keep reading though, priest.
And your officers.
And your officers. Is that on 28?
Nope. That I may speak these words in their ears and call heaven and earth to record against them.
Again, that's the role that our elders and our judges and our officers hold as a record. God always record what they did, how they judged, and how they sentenced. Because everything's supposed to be basically based off of God's words. All right. Side note, let's go to Matthew. St. Matthew 26:59.
Matthew chapter 26 and verse 59.
Bring this out.
Now the chief priests and elders and all the council sought false witness against Jesus.
Now remember, in the commandments it said, thou shalt not bear false witness. That goes all the way back to Exodus 20:16. 20:16. And then when it comes to a false witness, you know how we should judge them out. We should have more than just one. We should have 2 or 3 at the most. Let's find out. Keep reading it from the top again, priest.
Now the chief priests and elders and all the council sought false witness against Jesus to put him to death.
So we had wicked chiefs, we had wicked elders amongst Jesus that wanted to put him to death, and they were looking for wicked people to do the such thing. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to. Hey, last point though. 27:12 now.
Matthew chapter 27 and verse 12.
Same book. Thank you, priest. Chapter 27 and verse 12.
And when he was accused of the chief priests and elders.
So the chief priests and the elders was able to accuse him. They found a false witness. They did wicked. Read, priest.
He answered nothing.
But our Lord said he answered nothing. He answered nothing. That's it on 12?
Yep.
All praises. So now, let's continue on with the controversy amongst Israel. Hosea 4:1. Because remember, we had any controversy, any argument, any disputes, we're supposed to go to the judges, the officers, the king, if it be, and they're supposed to judge the matter according to the senses found in the Bible. So you could justify the righteous and condemn the wicked. But guess what happened? Well, you see what we in. We in captivity, so the laws won't be in this deal. But keep reading though, priest. Hosea
4, verse 1.
Hear
the word of the Lord.
Hear the word of the Lord. Let's hear the word of the Lord. Read.
Ye children of Israel.
And the people that are supposed to hear the word of the Lord are supposed to be the children of Israel. Read on, priest.
For the Lord hath a controversy with the inhabitants of the land.
So the Lord has a controversy with the inhabitants of that land right now. This moment. Read. That's Israel.
Because there is no truth.
Because there's no what?
No truth.
There's no laws being practiced. There's no laws being kept. Read, priest.
Nor mercy.
There's no mercy being found in this habitation that God has a controversy with. Keep reading, priest.
Nor knowledge of God in the land.
And you're not going to find no truth of God in the habitation of that land. How you know? Because you observe the people living in that habitation on that land. Read on, priest.
By swearing.
By what?
By swearing.
By swearing.
And lying.
And lying. That's it on one?
Oh, that was it. Yeah, I'm on 2 now.
That's all right. Hey, good. All praises. Hey, well, let's go to Hosea 12:2 now.
Hosea 12, verse 2.
Bring this out.
The Lord hath a controversy with Judah.
That's the point. The Lord. When it comes to controversy, when it comes to issues, the Lord always going to have it against his people. And Judah being one of them, but Israel as a whole. But it's only talking about Judah right now. But read on, priest.
And will punish Jacob according to his ways.
And that's Israel right there. The rest of Jacob. According to the ways that defies God's commandments. Or the ways that defy God. You walk in the opposite of God. He's going to judge you according to his sentences that he set forth for you, that you can find in the Bible. Is that no too?
According to his doings will he recompense him.
According to the doings will he recompense him. Recompense him. Hey, Micah 6:2 for them, priest.
Micah chapter 6 verse 2.
Bring this up.
Hear ye, O mountains.
So hear ye, O mountains. The mountain I want to talk about is Zion. Read, priest.
The Lord's controversy.
Mm-hmm.
And ye strong foundations of the earth. For the Lord hath a controversy with his people.
That's the point. The Lord has a controversy with his people. Remember the name of the title, Within Thy Gates. And remember, within thy gates, we're supposed to have judges. We're supposed to have officers. We're supposed to have men that goes after the will of God, our elders. And they're supposed to teach us the sentences when it comes to God's judgment so that we can justify the righteous and condemn the wicked. Condemn the wicked. Condemn the wicked. Is that on too?
Yep.
Let's go to Isaiah 66:16 for the flip side. And we almost done. We got one more scripture after this.
Isaiah.
Priest want to bring something out.
No, I'm good. Isaiah 66 verse 16.
Uh-huh.
For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh. And the slain of the Lord shall be many.
I want our brothers and sisters to realize that when God comes back with that sword, the slain is going to be a many. It's going to be a many. Last scripture, and I'm done. 1 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 14.
1 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 14.
Bring this out.
These things write I unto thee.
So I write these things unto you. This is Paul writing to Timothy. Read, priest.
Hoping to come unto thee shortly.
And I'm hoping that we come unto you shortly. Like me and my brother, we hoping that we come to our brothers and sisters shortly. When Christ come back, we hoping for that thing. Just like all our brothers are. Read, priest.
But verse 15.
Mm-hmm.
But if I tarry long.
But if I stay alone, read.
That thou mayest know how thou oughtest to behave thyself in the house of God.
So we are supposed to know how to behave today in the house of God. Those are called themselves believers. Read, priest.
Which is the church of the living God.
Which is the church of the living God. That's what we are. We are the church of the living God. Those that have an ear to hear, to hear. Read, priest.
The pillar and ground of the truth.
And 16.
Verse 16. And without controversy.
And we gotta be without controversy. We gotta be without argument. We gotta be out dispute. Now, if I ain't put this in my class, but it's much needed. Amos 3 and 3, we're coming right back to 16, priest. Because how can two walk together except they agree? There should be no controversy amongst the two. Should be no disagreement. Shouldn't be no argument. Shouldn't be no dispute.
Amos 3 verse 3.
Mm-hmm.
Can two walk together?
This is what God asking. God is asking us, can two walk together?
Except they be agreed?
Unless they agree. And the answer to that is yes, they have to agree to walk together. They have to agree to walk together. 1 Timothy 3:16.
1 Timothy 3 verse 16.
And
without controversy, great is the mystery of godliness.
That's the point. When you find that you have no controversy, that's great. And that's the mystery of godliness. When there's no controversy within thy gates. Is that on 16?
God was manifest in the flesh.
And God came in the flesh. That's talking about Christ. Read, priest.
Justified in the spirit.
And he's justified through the spirit.
Seen of angels.
Seen of angels.
Preached unto the Gentiles.
Preached unto the Gentiles.
Believed on in the world.
And believed on in the world.
Received up into glory.
And he was received up into glory. And this is without that controversy that we should all speak on. That we should all agree on. That Christ was seen by angels. And so on and so on. There's no controversy. There shouldn't be no arguments. Shouldn't be no heated disputes. Shouldn't be none of that. And with that, if the priest ain't got nothing to bring out, I'm finished. All right. Same way I open up, I like to close out. First, I like to give all praises to God, our forefathers, God of Abraham, God of Isaac, God of Jacob, God of Israel, and the name of his only begotten Son, Jesus Christ, who the world ate and confused with an Edomite. My name is Priest RamBen Israel. I'm with Holy Nation of Israel. And I got my bro over here. On the read, Chief Priest. But with that, I say shalom, Israel. Hope y'all enjoy it. Hope it was edifying.